from my perspective as a top manager, I want to build it more in rational way, in like with good strategic and decompositions all your tasks and metrics. But I can't do it like in full scale in crypto right now. And it pushes you to more like intuition and like vibing marketing to understand what's happening. So you really need to like vibing with the market. It's like something new from me and my partners who are already like 8 years in crypto doing it well, but I'm just learning how to do it.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Epic Web3 podcast. I'm your host Irena, head of Ecosystem at Chainflip. Today, I'm joined by Ilya Letunov. Ilya is a co-founder of Rivo.xyz. It's a platform that allows users to invest and earn yield across multiple DeFi narratives. And the North Star of Rivo is to provide a full-scale wealth management platform on-chain. Hi Ilya, it's great to have you here.
Hi Aaron, nice to meet you.
Thank you very much for joining us. Today, we have quite a bit to unpack. You have very interesting background. You moved from Web 2 to Web 3. You've built successful products across the verticals, and you have been in DeFi for quite a while. So I'm looking forward to learn more about Rivo, about your journey, speak about DeFi and what is the missing element to make it actually user-friendly and how Rivo is looking to solve that. Maybe let's start with learning a little bit about you and your background.
Yeah, sure. Let me start from like my past. So from my school, university, I was like tech guy who want to build a lot of stuff from architecture perspective. And my first AI agent was built in university as my diploma work. So it was very interesting time. But the most like big into my mindset when I was starting as a programmist and team lead and like CTO, it's the most interesting and like amazing part of tech is to find out how to make business and how to make value out of tech. So it's not like only a structure or like architecture or technology, but how it could connect with people and how give it value in the business process, in the like daily life. And after like work of CTO, I decided to go into more business part, and I became a product manager after it with some success with my product accounting SaaS service. I moved to more technical based businesses like cloud, and I was the head of one of the biggest Russian cloud, Mail.ru Cloud, and it was very interesting growth that you need to mix like very high-end technology about visualizations, servers, stuff like big quality, a lot of stuff, and other perspective of selling and marketing and how you could fit the needs and what's from technology side is interesting for your consumers and what we want, how we want to iterate, communicate. And it's very interesting arc between like technology and business needs. And in this case, it gave me like inspiration of doing high tech more and to go in more interesting for me direction on global markets. And after like being top manager for 5 years, I understand that I think it's a good timing for me to try entrepreneurship career too. And but it was like a little bit tricky because how you could like with first step go to like worldwide market and what could I do? And I have tried EdTech some. It was 2020, and it was interesting like cycle for crypto, and it was like very first my connection to crypto, and I find out my co-founder Yakov, and I was amazed about DeFi because from my perspective at the time that crypto was something like coins and pump and dumps, like some Ponzi schemes and other stuff. So I was like with negative perception of crypto. And I know like Ethereum, like Binance, other stuff, but then I understand what's happening with like DeFi stuff when you with smart contract based, the real decentralized crypto, and how DeFi could evolve because it's all open source, transparent, and it's have evolution inside it. Because if someone find out the good mathematical conditions, some good results in use cases or like architecture, everyone could take it in the product and evolve, and everyone could use everyone. It's fully open ecosystem, and you could use any blockchain, any smart contract you want. So one of the biggest thing that's the result is how much value you give to your users, the efficiency. So I think it's one of the biggest problems with banking system right now in the whole world, that it's not competitive with efficiency. It's more competitive to like hold user attention and regulation and other stuff. That's why I think it's very interesting opportunity for me, because I have like deep knowledge on tech, and like blockchain is the same like database, in memory database, and I was building in my previous career in memory database, and so it feels interesting for me. But the other thing from like DeFi and crypto, that suits my needs, it's that it was very easy to have like go to market to all the countries. In this case, yes, you have some legal issues, offshore other stuff, but if you build product, you build product for the whole world. So it's not like the type of product that you need to localize in each country. So was my initial thoughts. And I said, okay, I have skills of management. And then I came to crypto, and I was looking for some products who is live, who is succeed. And I understand that I think I have some leverage from Web2 top management experience about what is product management, what is like hypothesis, unit economy, KPI traction, because it was like more like early market. And it was so I think it was risky for like success top managers to go into crypto, because of some legal stuff and stuff which is in gray zone in a lot of countries. So it gave me some leverage with my skills, what I could do with like tech skills, management skills. So, and it was my decision. And right now I already 3 years in DeFi. We are trying like for 3 years with like different pivots and products to engage retail users to DeFi, because it's very complex. You have a lot of fear to interact with something that you like see is hacked. It's not like usual for you. You do need to make some permissions, do wallets with transactions, with blockchain. It's a lot of blockchains, protocols, a lot of LPs from, you can't understand where is like the good information, bad information, with a scam. So from one perspective, it's very hard niche to make onboarding in. But I think it's one of the biggest opportunity for DeFi and for TVL is to like make it simple enough to attract retail users funds into DeFi, to make it evolving much better, and to compete, to really compete to like TradFi services right now. Yeah, maybe I could talk a lot in this kind of direction, but maybe you have some questions like to
Yes.
navigate me better. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's maybe just to put a context to our further conversations, because your experience is very interesting. I wouldn't say it is unique, but there is this element in crypto. There is a lot of young people, and there's a lot of glorification of 25, 23-year-old founders who have no experience outside of crypto and maybe writing code. And quite a lot of it kind of reflects on the quality of products that we have day to day, because they've never worked on B2B, on B2C product. They actually never understood how to analyze their user patterns and behavior, and what actually is the concept of solving a pain points. And it's interesting because you came from the background, but you guys, you were building one of the biggest mailing services probably in the world. It might not be very well known to US market, but it was catering to one of the largest markets in the world. And you worked with the real users. You also, within the cloud, it was B2B model as well. So with this experience, you guys build Rivo. And I have, first maybe let's talk about what Rivo.xyz is. And that I would be interested to ask you, when you come from this experience of working in traditional tech, what, from your perspective, were the first things which we kind of have been struggling to solve for a very long time, and how you thought about you can do it differently? So let's start with.
Yeah, sure. Let's start with the first. Um, I don't want to say some like general blurbs right now. So it's more like a concept of Riva. It's like a wealth manager, like long-term wealth manager with DeFi as an instrument inside it, powered by AI Copilot Maneki. So in current stage of our product, we have a lot of infrastructure to connect to DeFi, to make one-click investments, to have like risk models inside us. So we have our own risk model that evaluate the risk of each protocol and vaults. We have like P&L interface because it's very difficult to understand what's happening with your money in DeFi, with your positions, and what you could do. But like as a result of 2 years product building in case if DeFi product for retail, so we understand that I think one of the most important type of products that all need is not like to automate the like decision of investment in DeFi to make vaults or protocols, but more like understanding on why when you could enter and when you could out and to rebalance your positions. So it's more like managing the fear and factors and the news, because if you started read and you are like going into some your first investment, first product, when you have a lot of stress to understand what's happening with like news, what's happening with like market, and do it's time to go into like stablecoin investment and to hold your positions, or to go more altcoins, other stuff, and how it makes to DeFi. And it gives you a lot of pressure for you is what's happening like with FOMO, and you could like be scared of losing money, but not to get your opportunity and don't make hundreds of your assets, and it's always pushing us. So we understand that it's a lot of negative emotions in building in crypto in this case. And retail users struggle with this because it's a lot of stress. Sometimes it's interesting game, but then it's game bear market and it's not very funny at all. So we try to combine all our technology about wallet technology, P&L technology, risk management technology, and other stuff, and users' interaction with our AI assistant like Copilot Maneki, who could make you like onboarding into DeFi to understand all the concepts, but more talk with you as a like trusted friend about okay, what's happening, what this news, what is the best opportunity for your assets, what you have. You could see this portfolio, it's managed like this with this type of risk management. Do it fit your needs? So we're trying to make some compassion assistant, and who could give you like all the alerts and information you need, and just give you like perspective of what doing professionals doing and why they're doing this type of products and this type of portfolios in their like wallets, and what you could do from your amount of money and your current situation, because maybe you like stick to one blockchain and you want to stick to make all your moves and all your investments inside this ecosystem. And I think AI could be like this like end game thing, because now you could iterate with like assistant, not the wallet, not like the permissions things. And if you already have a lot of stuff for with trust with your assistant, it could really make you like more type of product, like in as a broker's product in TradFi, when you have like your personal assistant and he gives you a lot of trust in what you're doing with the financial products. So I think in crypto, as a more technical side, it will be like AI assistant who will have your personal, and she knows all your personal information, stuff about history, what you want, what you do from blockchain. So it's very deep integration in your like all activity on blockchain. So that's why we like launching Maneki right now. We have like our beta, and in this case of talking about Riv, I think one of the most important from my point of view about AI agent right now and like the meta. So everyone trying to build automation to make it more easier to do like text navigation, text execution, all the stuff. But from my perspective, it's not a problem for users. If you already understand what Pendle wants, it's not hard for you to like make a transaction. The more complex task is to understand why and how long I will choose with Pendle vaults, like for example, or like other vault. And so the main pain point that I think we need to like try to solve is more a complicity of the choice, and then the management of like rebalancing your portfolio and wallet, and like information management, like meta management, management of like TVL and other stuff on chain management. So we're trying to integrate to focus more on like the life cycle of investment with Maneki, and not just optimization of the processes that we already have in DeFi. And I
So
think it's, yeah.
sorry, I think, sorry, I just maybe it would be good to like summarize in terms of where, so within the product, right? If I understood you correctly, originally when you guys started building, and the idea was obviously simplification and build it more intuitively. So it's very interesting, right? Because if you can see from the general trends right now, that's the reason you have interoperability because and account abstraction. So you had multiple narratives which were all aiming to provide seamless experience. And I think so far we've reached, we have, particle, one balance, Infinex. So now they've started creating more one-stop shops, DeFi experiences, but one could argue that they're not necessarily user friendly unless it's a DeFi user. And I think it's very interesting because you guys took a very different approach because so if I understand it correctly, you guys decided, right. So there is the infra element, which is kind of getting to the point where it's a little bit easier to unify it. And then there is users who will benefit from it, but they kind of live on chain, their life, and other users, which are more coming from traditional background, for them it's still not achievable. Interesting thing for Rivo, which is the way I see it, one of the biggest differentiators, your solution was to implement AI agents to help to make kind of co-pilot the users on onboarding. And it also makes more sense because obviously I read some of your blogs when you were introducing Maneki, and it all goes back to Buddhism and the idea of a very kind and helping entity, which now makes complete sense for me why you named it afterwards, because originally I was thinking DeFi, this is all very P2P, but now it makes sense. So basically with you guys, one of the most important thing to understand is that, and you find a very seamless and needed use case where AI will be able to analyze the data and combine both its capabilities of data analysis of blockchain, which is available to it, and also understanding the behavioral patterns. So on this actual side, first thing which I'm very curious is then you also have risk assessment, which is all very TradFi experience. So how did you guys manage to build that? Because I really wanted to understand how do you evaluate it?
Yeah, it's a good question because it's like give me the possibility to answer your second questions about like previous how we came up to DeFi and Riva in this case, and I give you a little story of our pivots. And it's interesting because we start from like CeFi product and we make CeFi hedge fund who invest in DeFi, and was like our like traditional type of hedge fund who have like analytics, risk models, other stuff, all the optimizations. So first, what we have been done is like CeFi as Celsius. I think you remember this name, but we was using DeFi as a source of yield, and it gave us a lot of experience of managing position by ourselves to make custodial investments, to make strategies, to get data analysis, to get TVLs, APYs, all the stuff, to understand impermanent loss risk, to understand what is like data initial strategies, like how you can combine like leverage and like DeFi liquidity providing. So all the stuff. And we at the peak we have more than $200 million under management, and was like kind of success. We have like a token who sometimes like get to 50 million TVL, I think. But one of the biggest problem, and it was easy for users because it's DeFi, so you don't like stick to blockchain problems of usability. You just make it like as a bank, and everyone like it because you just deposit your clips and then you see like some numbers that give you, oh, okay, I'm having my yield, but it's not like transparent. So because it's like from the back end, and it's like some expectation of what you have. And after Celsius collapse and FTX collapse and collapsing of CeFi, we have some losses in our positions and we need to close it. And like the main thing for us was like, if you really want to make something decentralized and transparent, you can't do custodial investment because it just ruin all this, because it gives some infrastructure risk, it's risk of managing like people management risk and other stuff. But if you want to go into a real decentralized and DeFi future, we need to like make a step to build it in decentralized way. But from this experience, we have a lot of risk models, risk rewards, algorithm, and other stuff to management our positions. This was like one of the parts of our key competence which came us as management big hedge fund. And that's why how we came up to our next product. And the next product for us was like, okay, now we want to make decentralized hedge fund, and to simplify, we work as decentralized hedge fund. Let's make yield-bearing indexes. So we built like Yearn Finance, but cross-chain, and we've not like one-time set up a vault, but the vault that could manage and to change the allocation with the methodology of our risk framework. So we have like on-chain risk framework that evaluate every week the result, and we have like APY with TVL, the like scalability of strategies, and in smart contract you could like change the allocations to different strategies or to add new, but you as a user just one time buy one token of the index, like risk-taking index, you change the narrative, and then we build all the stuff inside smart contract to manage it. So we try to build like a decentralized hedge fund in case. And we came up for retail users who was our users in like a CFI model. And they say, great, we trust you, but why API is not fixed, and why we need wallet, and what is this permission, and what is smart contract, and why you are not hacked. And we attract like 3 million TVL, but the main feedback from retail users, guys, you do some like cosmic stuff, but I don't trust. I could give you like $1,000, but I don't understand what's happening, because it's not like I don't have such experience on investing in these products, and I don't want to start because I could lose money, and I see a lot of news about hacks and other stuff, and you give like more risk, but you could be hacked too. Yes, so it was like the second thing for us to understand that if we really want to go to not B2B or like DeFi DGN market, we need to make it even simpler and come back to CFI. And that's how Rivo was created. And at first, it was created as account abstraction wallet with DeFi marketplace. So we believed then, okay, account abstraction give us like CeFi experience because no gas, we could compensate gas. You could like create your account from Twitter or Google and don't have like seed phrase. And we have like some security advanced features because we have smart contract who manage your wallet. And we built Rivo as our first hypothesis in this type of scenario. So we have like account abstraction wallet and like Zaps technology. It's like technology that in one transaction you could do like 2 free swaps and like enter the smart contract of DeFi protocol and make it simpler. And we scale it, we start in marketing, and what's happening? That's when you're going to account abstraction, it have like a lot of problem in execution, because firstly, it's you need to pay more gas, because it's not like seed phrase and for send for do anything, because of like technology that you have smart contract inside it. It's cost more gas, and it could be like much cheaper if it will be like very popular, because account abstraction give opportunity to like batch transactions. So if you have like thousands of transactions, it became cheaper. But from the start, so we will try to build it in like first year of account abstraction and to be one of the first platforms to work with it. It wasn't too popular, and it give you like from the user's perspective. Firstly, you need to like make a swap to a different wallet, because you need to create something new to make it like pop up, or like to make a swap on it. Second one, it became more transaction heavy from a gas cost, and one of the biggest problem was that it's new at some and for all DeFi protocols we need to implement account abstraction deposit into the smart contracts, but this give them more complexity and some opportunity for hacks, and it doesn't have a lot of value inside it because there are not a lot of users who working with account abstraction. So in this case, you have problems to integrate with DeFi, like much bigger problem to make Zaps and to integrate all the protocols with account abstraction wallet inside it. All this complexity, so give us like not good metrics of integrating into account abstraction, because the value of like simplicity is not the value of efficiency. So we need as efficient as DeFi, but more simpler. But then you need to like trade the simplicity for efficiency. It's not working in investment products because it's all about like earning money. So this is like it's a 1 year experience in the past from Riva, but it was funny because you say about account abstraction and this kind of way of go to, because we already go in this direction like more than a year, and stopped to understand, okay, account abstraction doesn't fit right now. Maybe in the future, if it will make very popular, it will boost. But we as a like startup, we want to focus in like what opportunity we have right now, and we make a pivot into AI. I think I answered a question about risk framework, and It's really part of our like TradFi team and like experience about DeFi hedge fund, and all the technology part of Rivo is from account abstraction wallet, ZAPs. We built our own vaults like Yon Finance Fork, and we have like by own experience of smart contract development and audits and all the stuff. So it's not like we are not like guys who never do it and try to make some risk frameworks about it.
Oh no, but it is a very interesting story, and I think also it's also very interesting when you have a lot of narrative and chain abstraction, account abstraction has definitely been out there for a very long time, but you guys have made a very long journey down the rabbit hole of actually building with it. And I think to answer, it was a very interesting comment about depending on the appetite and the expectations from the product, it's interesting because you talked about business and that there are certain trade-offs which you just cannot afford, specifically if you build financial primitives. And maybe let's double down on that one. So when you guys start building Rival, what and you see right now the kind of one account, one balance narratives ri- arising quite prominently. What do you think? Those who've been in DeFi trenches for a very long time, have you ever noticed the pattern when they start thinking about users? What are kind of the key elements you see has been not done properly, and what mistakes has been done from you guys' perspective, and how you approach it and try to fix it with rival user onboarding?
I don't think I could talk about like mistakes because everything have their situations, but in general, I could talk some trends. I think that's make it's really difficult to build a consumers-based product in DeFi, and it was like a shock for me, like from Web 2 perspective, and what we have in crypto and in DeFi space is like seasons. From perspective of like classical business, seasons is like you have unit economy and you have like conversion, retention, LTV, all other stuff, and like in good seasons you have like 25% boost to like 20% boost, and okay, it could be, and you could manage your unique economy, your metrics, your like budgets, all the stuff. And then you came to DeFi and you came to like crypto products and retail products. The amazing thing is that your conversions could like go in 20 times decreased or increased in case of what's happening in like a market. So in case of like metrics, like evaluation, hypothesis, all the management stuff, it's very easy to like prove any hypothesis, because in case of what's happening with the market, like some bear market or like bull market things, or like some big narratives came up, it gives so much like how engagement with users. So it's very difficult for you if someone like trying to build business model. It's like a mess sometimes, because you take historical data and to like clear it from the seasoning patterns, it's just a mess. So this is kind of like a problem that we struggle from this case from Web 2, and the other stuff like what you usually do in Web 2 experience build products, that you have like some hypothesis, you have like landing, you have like some type MVP of product, and then you just buy the advertise like from performance channels like Google, like Facebook, Instagram, or whatever you want, and just like validate the hypothesis. But you are like really understand what type of like users you acquiring, the cost of these users, and it's impossible to do in crypto because you do not have like direct channel of like segment for like some segments of users. You always like try to make like calls interaction, ecosystem interaction, partnership marketing, but it's not like a structured like repeatable source of traffic. So in this case, when you're building retail users, it's every time you need to understand what happened with this quality of the traffic. Is it the same call, different call? This is like affiliate program. This is like point program boost. So it's really not easy to make like rational decision about your metrics, and I think it's like a big pain for entrepreneurships who build like products in DeFi and crypto.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
I think
def
it's more like a comparison, like Web 2, Web 3, and like what we are struggling from my perspective is like top manager, who you want to build it more in rational way, in like with good strategic and like decompositions all your task and metrics. But I can't do it like in full scale in crypto right now. and it push you to more like intuition and like vibing marketing to understand what's happening. So you really need to like vibing with the market. It's like something new from me, and my partners who already like 8 years in crypto doing it well, but I'm just learning how to do it, and it's like definitely a new skill for me.
Yes, it's coming from a traditional finance background. Yeah, there's not even such thing as a pattern because you don't have enough data to identify that it is a certain pattern. And I think it's a good example of what we're going through right now in terms of undefined bear bull market. I think people don't even quite understand from 3 cycles of data, and it's also that we also struggle to make very certain estimates in terms of user understanding, and they also had to do a lot of works forward, which helped us to identify like 3 separate boxes with different users. But then again, the pattern is there's a lot of assumptions that you have to apply on, which is ironic because given everything is on chain, it should be
Yeah, yeah,
available. But I think in terms of, so when you still decided, which is very amazing, to go ahead with not just a user facing product, and it is very interesting, and I think this is where I would be very keen to talk a little bit more about Maneki, because not only you targeting the B2C segment, but you also targeting potentially, my understanding is more retail traditional segment as well. And do I understand it correctly if this is the goal? And I wonder how you see AI agents are going to help to onboard it. And I wanted to understand, what do you think? So you guys build it using the OpenAI APIs, as far as I
yeah,
remember.
yes.
And what do you see the limitations are right now, given how much narrative has dropped recently, because it's a very complex quest. So yes, I'm wondering to understand how you see AI could definitely help to talk to the traditional retail users. Curious how you see the onboarding of those users, given how complex DeFi is. I guess Robinhood was a good example because it was COVID back then and people had nothing else to do, and they just
Yeah,
downloaded the
yeah.
app and had free cash. But that was one story which is pretty unique. So I wonder how you guys see leveraging AI, redefining the traditional user story, and how to educate them about very complex patterns.
Yeah, let me start from our client segment perspective. So the main users that we are focusing is like users of Binance and Coinbase who already have some crypto, some transactional crypto, stablecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, other stuff, but never try to earn it and to make yield on it. Because we're not focusing like to like the guys who never touch crypto, because it's like titanic work of onboarding with like big marketing budget and other stuff. But the users who already have crypto but don't earn on it and just losing money because they not invest the crypto into like safe passive income products. So this is our focus. But we understand to get to these clients, you need trust, because trust is like very important thing in crypto, and it's work like if you have like trust level not enough, you have like conversion like zero, and then you get to like initial trust level of okay, you are inside the partnership ecosystem and you're good enough, and you like already 2 years of work and you are still working and going good job, then you attract the first conversion from retail users. So it's very important about trust, about building like involvement products and that keep alive and doing like new features and adopting. So for these users, it's very important to make them go through like first portfolio, because it's the most scariest one. And with Maneki, so it's not like we could make like a personal education flow in DeFi. So we have like our DeFi courses information, and we could ask users, and using AI and AI agents and some reasoning opportunities inside it, we could build like defined boarding custom for these users for his assets. So we are not like doing everything about crypto, but we say, okay, you have like these assets on your wallet, and we're focusing only on what you have and what you could do in case of like active management, passive management, very low risk, some middle risk, some like 1 year's investment, 5 years investment. And we try to focus to onboard not on all the DeFi, but only the use case that you already have in your wallet and your assets, and to make it personal for you from using AI. And the second thing is like, I think one of the biggest problem right now in AI agents, and you can't just follow up the general intellect of like OpenAI, of like LLMs, because we have some hallucinations inside it, and it's not like really like superb reasoning sometimes. So you just make some mistakes. And in this case, what we are doing, we have like our like sandbox for Maneki. So all the stuff that we're doing with like risk framework and like information, educational information about all the protocols, all the yield opportunities, or type of risk models, other stuff. We help Maneki to learn only from whitelisted information. So not the whole whole internet information, because now it's really general to go to like Grok and ask about some information and investment opportunities, other stuff about DeFi protocols, and it will be good enough from the first type of like from the first view, but it has some outdated information sometimes. And if you're like in Uber, you can't understand what is like outdated, what is like mixed, and what is hallucination. That's why I think maybe in the future it will adopt and it will evolve in more things. But one of the biggest challenge for us is to make whitelisted information only to communicate with the users, that's already validated from our experts, analytics, risk frameworks, and our staff. So we're not doing like just general reason models. We build it with like fine tuning on our information, our like frameworks and thinking frameworks and investment. And I feel this kind of approach could give a trust and give like a good and like suited words and interaction with DeFi users, with users from like Binance and Coinbase to make the first investment. And to make it even simpler, we have like point program to invest with points firstly, not like with your own money, and to see the real P&L in your first investment, to like make it step by step come into your first investment with real money. So I think in this case, in this like setup of AI and like our competence in DeFi, we could combine it to make it like real personal onboarding for these users and to make it trust in the system in like P&L. But and to do it, we focus only on a big protocols. So if you come to Rival right now and to see what we choose, it will be like low risk and like middle risk products. Yeah. So it's very important for us. So if we choose something and whitelist it inside River, you could use it like 3 or 4 months without exiting, because this is like how passive income portfolios is produced. And yes, I think this is like kind of the connection of like our user segments, technology, and AI that could work, I believe.
On a more, I guess, existential topic, I am wondering, obviously there is from the current ETH performance, and I am going to ask you, since you're looking at the passive yield expectations, what you guys experiences, and I presume is it where the risk management tunes in when Bitcoin is kind of was always one of the most traditional favorite. Do you actually think the wider DeFi is mature enough to be even positioned as a passive risk source?
I think this is like the key concept of what we are doing. So we're trying to suggest that if you already have stable coins, let's earn and make yield on stable coins. If you have Ethereum, if you already choose that it's your like asset you want to like be bullish with, we could help you to make your passive income strategies and passive income portfolio on this asset. But we never advise you to buy more Ethereum, because it's impossible to make this kind of like risk framework to talk about what's happening with market. So we are not like advising about exposure to assets. The only thing that we are focusing, if you have stable coins, let's do stablecoin portfolio. If you have like Ethereum and Bitcoin, let's do this type of yield strategies, and this is like kind of reference portfolio you could build. If you don't know what you want, you could like suggest what kind of portfolio building technologies could be, and then we said like, okay, yeah, we could like manage like 70% on stable coins, like 20% on Ethereum, and let's like you could choose some altcoins if you want more risk and to yield on these altcoins too. And we will give you opportunity to yield and to like earn more money on assets you already choose. But we are not forcing to give like this like initial advice about let's go into bullish on Ethereum or like Bitcoin, because it's I think it's impossible to make this kind of recommendation to the all retail. It's like it's not our job in this case, and But if you already have it, so you make this decision maybe like 2-3 years ago, right now you want to enter in like Ethereum or like Bitcoin or other assets, we could give you opportunity to yield on it, not just holding it on your wallet. So this is focus of our passive income products, and it's very important to not overstep this like border to like make these advices to like buy some kind of token. It's our like part of our limitation of our product, because we only could give some news, some information from like different podcasts, media, other stuff. So we give you informed about what's happening with your portfolio. So then you just come to Maneki and we understand already what kind of protocols you have and assets from what protocols. And then you have like live stream with news and reports about your protocols combined from analytics. But we never to give you like advice by this one new. Yeah, it's very important in case of this product.
But yet, I mean, yet there's already, I wouldn't say complexity, but you still have, multiple partnerships, multiple yield opportunity. You have the AI agent, and I think there's definitely has been a lot of questioning within the limitations in terms of scalability of blockchain. It's as itself. How much speed could be expected if we have a lot of agents actually existing on chain. So I think just to talk more about overall infrastructure development and where you see the biggest risks and limitations, because when you go to the platform, it's a very user-centric experience. It looks very friendly, it's gamified, it's very clear UX, and you quite quickly get understanding what is going on. Maybe it's always different if you don't understand the tickers, you don't know the protocols where the yield is coming from, but other than that, it's a very pleasant experience, and it's interesting because you don't necessarily even think where it's built on. You guys currently support 8 chains, if I understand correctly. What was your thinking process about choosing the tech underneath, and what are the key components, and what do you think the limitations currently are for you guys and just in general for building those co-pilots effectively for DeFi on chain?
Yes, so I will try to like. My first thoughts was like, in case of our product and like limitation of like blockchain. I think from like after L2s came up and they have like swap integrators like LeFi, we have like Debunk, we have like a local infrastructure with like swaps, with like a layer 0 and wormhole for cross-chain opportunities for bridging. And after L2s and like opportunity to have like cheaper transaction on Ethereum. So I'm not waiting anything from this type of infrastructure to collapse, because I think it have already enough capacity to make all these transactions. So I happy what we already have. So it's very different. So like 3 years ago when we start, you can't use anything because it have like a lot of problem with like performance, and you need to build up your stuff. You like go to blockchain by yourself and build all these metrics. Now we have like a lot of infrastructure built on it, and I'm happy with it right now that we have. So it's not like a point of limitation of our DeFi product right now. But the more problems that we have is to the diversity of DeFi protocol smart contracts usage. So every time you have some different news, some different integration, and you need to make it clear, you make it transparent and like with good security level. So I think from our perspective, and it's not like on. So it's going into a good direction because we have like some new standards for vaults and integrating in all the stuff. So evolving of the tech inside DeFi and blockchain, it's very good speed. So I think we really right now is ready for engaging like 10 million users to DeFi, and it will be like a very big spike for interaction, for amount of money, for kind of projects and investment. And yeah, so from infrastructure level, I think it's all good.
Just quickly on this note, actually, absolutely, that's a great statement because there's obviously a lot of debates whether interop has been solved and or not. And the reality is, I like how you say it. It's basically kind of like, guys, you've been asking for infra for 3 years.
Yes.
A lot of protocols like Layer Zero, Wormhole. I mean, like in LeFi, we also chip into that. Like interop is there, so now there's no excuses to actually build usable products.
Yeah.
It's now it's on. Thank you, absolutely, that's amazing.
Yeah, but right now, in case of our product, so we have like DeFi blockchain perspective, and we have like AI infrastructure. And from AI infrastructure, I think it's have like each own difficulties. And like in current moment of what we are building, it's something like an art to build AI agents. So if you're not doing like optimization process when you like take something in text and convert into IPY and then make call, it's easy. But if you're trying to build something like with some reasoning models to decompose, to not like structure like step one by one, but to give the agents some freedom to make their choices and to like make it more like personal experience for users, when you push into limits of current AI API with like amount of information that you could provide. So you need to decompose all the process in like multiply of agent, and each agent is like a professional in one scenario, and in this scenario he has a freedom to find out how to execute it, but you have like validators who will like push if some mistake happen, and it's all pushed to the context usage, because you can't just provide all the information to agents. So you need to cherry pick the best information that you provide to agent for his role to make his the advanced reason and the result for the users. And it's not like we don't have like books writing how to do it, and so every team who building agents is just struggling and trying the new. So it's kind of art from in case of like development. And you can't use like reasoning models, and I think like just retail users don't think from this perspective, but when you use API you can't use like ChatGPT 4.5, because it's like 50 times expensive than general API. And if you're doing product, you have your economy, so you can't spend more like to $3 on a user, like if you have like tariff for subscription or transaction costs for, so your profits give you the limit for like your expenses of on AI to make it profitable, because we're doing business. And in case of profitable, you could like decompose like, okay, what is $3? $3 is like 200 agents calls per month, and you need to stick to it as your like making architecture and building your products. So right now, from my perspective, building AI agents and working with like AI APIs is kind of art to managing the expense and context, to like still going with like good quality of the product from the user's perspective. And it's very interesting in case of what's happening. It's a lot of creativity, but we have very big limitation. The cost that we could spend on the AI and like the context to make it really good answers. So like in case like from our DeFi analytics, and we have like all the risk framework, but if we take all the stuff that we already learned in like AI and give it all context to read, there is no much context for reasoning inside AI, and her answers um, became stupid. So you can't give all the information that you have right now, and you like need to decompose it into little agents with like more small amount of information, and then it's starting to work in like making like 10 agents communicating with each other with each small context of information about like this kind of risk framework, this kind of like evaluation about TVL, about APYs, about like past, about transactions. It feels very complex in case, but it's very interesting, because I think it's something like a new development pattern for new projects and for new businesses, and it will be a new meta in the future.
It is very interesting because it sounds like a huge entry barriers, even though on one hand, it's one of those cases, and I think some people already start watching Black Mirror, which was in episode 1, when you start getting this talking about variety of access based on a certain financial capacity, and when you it seems very easy, and I think that's also partly the reason we see trend kind of slowing down with AI, because there were a lot of attempts to start building, but the reality to scale it to a very high reasoning and high value output, it's not economically always feasible unless you really start implementing very complex orchestration to reduce the costs, which I don't think was very much visible since January, and also it's much. So do I understand then correctly then? So it's even there is actually multiple AI agents on the background who
Yes.
coordinate between themselves. That's fascinating.
Yes. Yes, it's the only way how you could like manage the context problem, the cost problem, because sometimes you could just iterate with very cheap model because it's good enough to work. Sometimes on some very most important like prompts, you need to take reasoning models and you like try to combine them into to match your unit economics for this product to like have a profit on it.
I haven't heard the word unit economics in crypto. I think for the past 2 years at least, and that's kind of honey on my ears, or one of those Russian proverbs which I quite like. Right. So I think we're coming to end of this podcast, and I think we have not really touched, and I'll be very looking forward to hear what this year has on the cards for Rival, because you guys have a very busy roadmap. So it would be great to finish with some insights of what users can expect.
Yeah. Um, it will be very intense years for either, and I think it's like situations you succeed or not in case of this year, because agents like industry will evolve significantly at the end of this year. So we at high speed competitive landscape right now, and what we want to do, and firstly we will launch Maneki at the in the beginning of May for fully. Now it's only in a beta for our ambassadors, and we take like feedback from early adopters. It will be live with like basic product to analyze your wallet, analyze your assets, and like try to recommend you like the best strategies suited for you for your risk reward and for your onboarding process with DeFi. It will be like our first step. After it, we want to launch token for agent to like scale the marketing and sticky community about token and to integrate token inside like our business model to make a subscription to Maneki, because you really need some subscription model in crypto for agents because you use OpenAI and it costs you for each API call. So we will build in a subscription business model and we integrate P&L with like debunked integration, all the stuff that we need for multiple wallets. We integrate Maneki, Zaps, our marketplace, and we will have some commission like rewards product inside it. And after it, we have like two main focuses. First focus is MCP and like agent to agent communication, because if we could provide a good like passive income product suggestion, and like it's not like only suggestion, we are building the whole transaction and like all the transaction to build this portfolio one by one. We could provide it to agents because a lot of agents now have some assets on their management but they don't use it, and it could be like a passive management framework for agents, and we work in with virtuals to like integrate this kind of interaction inside our workflow. But for retail users, we want to focus more in not just first investment use case, but more at management portfolio use case. So our next things will be like managing all the information about protocols and like meta and use inside Maneki, and you ask everything that you're involved and you have exposure to. And we will make some alerts and metrics about what's happening with TV, API, and some suggestion of rebalancing. And if new strategies or new portfolios came up, as like we will make your like to be informed and suggested about what's happening in the market and how you could like navigate inside it. So on the next step, we will focus in more about rebalancing product and managing like the whole portfolio after you set up it. I think if it goes as goes, and we have so like fast evolving of reasoning and of opportunity to get more context inside AI, LLMs, APIs, we will push to Maneki as a fund managers, and maybe we will go into Morpho worlds. So we want to make Maneki with all experience of working with retail and like our hedge fund experience, to trying to build like wealth managers and to make our wealth management models like on Morpho, on like Reserve, and to be a curator of investment opportunities. Maybe it's a future, maybe not, but it's interesting how all's going on. But if we will see what will go better. So it's retail product and like agent to agent product on auto become a wealth managers and a curator model on side of AI. And it's so much opportunities and so much like factors inside all this business model and what's happening with market, all the economy, and all the like what's happening right now in like global markets.
Yeah.
So I think the flexibility is the most important for Riva as a like strategy for this year. So we have some like points what could be, but to navigate, we need to make decisions once by month. I think right now we have, like, as a manager, it's make me give me a lot of stress, but I could like make a plans one month like ahead, not more. Yeah, we're thinking, we have some visionary, and we will evolve. But right now, like the deep operational plans, it's only one month ago and ahead, and then let's see what's happening, what's market give us.
Yeah, very true. I very much feel you on this aspect. I think community is like a good roadmap, but then the reality is, and probably from traditional markets, it's more clear that in a certain times there's no need to focus on the roadmap. Agility is the game, and I think in the current macro situation, that's also how it is for a lot of protocols in crypto as well. Well, thank you very much. I think most importantly, Ilya, if you could also mention how the users can find you and Rivo, and what's the best way to onboard and test it out. And yeah,
Yes,
all the links.
Rivo.xyz, it's our main site, and you could go to app, and it's ready right now with all the strategies and apps, all the technologies we have. You could like go to our Twitter, Rivo.xyz Twitter, and to subscribe on us and wait for like open beta for Maneki. It will be like early May, and after it, we will keep you updated on about our roadmap and how you to integrate. And we have like a good bonuses and point program for early users and early feedback. So I appreciate all the interaction and feedback for us. It's very important to navigate the market. I think we will join Epic conference in Dubai. I will join it with DeFi and my Meta. So I think we will meet there next time. Maybe.
We will meet there for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And I wonder when I wonder when it's going to come out, probably maybe after token, but I definitely will see you guys at token, and
See you.
I'm very excited to see the full release of Maneki and what this year brings to you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I will send you a personal link for Maneki. Yeah.
Please do.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Have a lovely day. Thanks, everyone.